to the Public Administration Postgraduate Diploma Information Session. We are really looking forward to your insights. My name is Tiangele, and I'm a senior lecturer at Milpark Business School for the qualification, the Postgraduate Diploma in Public Administration. And today I am joined by the fabulous panel members that you will be seeing, who will be introducing themselves individually. So for now, I will be going around the room just so that each panel member can briefly introduce themselves before we actually start with the conversation. So over to you, Ms. Hannah Thompson.
Hello, I'm Hannah. I'm an academic trainee in the School of Professional Accounting at Milpark. I am currently, as I said, academic trainee, and I'm in management accounting. So that is mainly the reason why I chose this qualification, is because it's so relatable in the costing and the management of resources. And yeah, I've just enjoyed this course so far, and seeing it from a different perspective me being in the public sector it's been really, really encouraging to see. Yeah.
Thank you, Hannah. Over to you, Lubaba.
Yeah, thank you, Tia. My name is Lubaba Eric Banza. I'm currently based in the Democratic Republic of Congo and working as a maintenance planner within a mining company. So before coming back home, I was pretty much in South Africa for quite some few years, almost 7 years. And I did obtain my degree in engineering. So as engineers, most of the time we, struggle with management and financial aspect and so on. So those are the main reasons that I chose this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Lubaba. Over to you, Ms. Dorothy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dorothy Steenkamp. I'm from the Diamond City of Kimberley, based in the Northern Cape, South Africa. I am employed at the National Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. And in the Kimberley Regional Office, we have 9 regional offices throughout the country. And yeah, that's what I do. And I'm a proud public servant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tsulofelo.
Evening, everyone. I'm Tsolofelo Ngwane. I'm based in sunny Pretoria, Gauteng. I'm currently employed as a departmental administrator at the University of Pretoria, and this qualification has really helped me rise to the top, and it has contributed significantly in my career.
Thank you. Over to you, Ms. Felicity. You're on mute.
Sorry, my apologies. Good evening, everybody. My name is Felicity Machisa. I'm in this lovely Cape Town area. I reside in Mowbray Maternity Hospital as in supply chain. What I can really say about this postgrad, it give me a real boost in all areas of my my work, and I implement some of my academic like the policies and stuff I implemented into my work, and it's mind blow. It's so much easy to understand and to implement. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your lovely introductions. So everyone, this is our panel member. These are our panel members, excuse me. So before we actually get into the conversation about the qualification, I just would like to encourage each and everyone who is online to engage with us in the chat box. So if you have any questions, please put your questions in the chat box. And then towards the end, if you have any questions, please do raise your hands so that we can disable the mic for you, and then we can keep the conversation going. So I think before anything, we always have to ask the question, why? Why are you doing this qualification? Why did you specifically choose the Postgraduate Diploma in Public Administration at Milpark Business School. So if I can just go around for everyone just to give us a brief story of why you chose this qualification and just walk us through a little bit of your journey in terms of what you feel about this qualification. So who would like to go first? Can I, or should I randomize it? Okay, I'll randomize it. Tsolofelo, please tell us.
Evening. For me to choose Milpark, as first as I choose an institution, I looked at the curriculum and its relevance to my workspace and what is currently happening in my organization. So Milpark has been great, especially modules like public policy, monitoring and evaluations. Those were the most modules which were relevant to the space that I was doing at that time. But as you look at Milpark, it has been easier for me to attend the classes as it's distance and online. And the study guides are really relevant and easier to understand. For me, it was a great choice for me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Just to add on to what Tsolofelo is saying, you know, we are an online platform, so it doesn't mean there's a disconnect. For me, I feel, you know, there's always this perception to say, oh, it's so hard to study online, but it actually offers flexibility. And we really do try our level best to support each and every student with what we have to offer. So yeah, Dorothy, what are your feelings and what was your reason for choosing this qualification?
I think the duration for me was convenient. Some PGDPAs are over a 2-year period, which is a bit too long. And also the cost factor. And then, like Tsolofelo said, the distance. One doesn't have to do the block release process, which takes so much time out of your schedule. So yeah, the cost also for me, it's rather affordable. Also considering that it's a private institution, the affordability is really a big thing, especially if you're paying out of pocket for it and you don't have a sponsor. So I think it's really something that's doable. And yeah, and the fact that, and also the quick communication, your turnaround times on when I did inquiry about the qualification, the response is really very, it was fantastic compared to other institutions where you have to wait for weeks and weeks on end for a response. And the response time really from Milpark, I must commend you on that. It's been good. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Dorothy. Thank you so much for your insights. Lubaba?
Okay, thank you. For me, I would say 3 things. First one is the cost. So the program is affordable. As Dorothy said, I'm paying, you know, with my own money, so it's a cost effective. The second thing is that the program is fully online, you know, and since it's fully online, I'm pretty much able to continue with work and also combine that with the studies. And the third point would be also the reputation, because you know, it's not just about getting a qualification, it's also about the reputation of the institution. So that's all for me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Lubaba. Hannah?
For me, as a psych-academic trainee, I was required to study something this year. And going into this program, I had no idea what I was in for. I saw it and I was like, okay, this looks interesting. But now really I've seen the value in it. It's been able to enhance my ability to think critically about governance, policy implementation, and accountability, which is so important actually in my role as a future chartered accountant. And especially in management accounting, where we're focusing on performance evaluation and resource allocation, it's given me the perspective to see it from the public sector side rather than seeing it as I would in the PGDA being private sector. So it's made me more aware of how the ethical leadership, transparency, and the effective program design can influence a financial decision, as well as the allocation of resources, especially in education and helping students see it from a different perspective.
And I mean, I think what you're saying is quite important because it touches on the versatility of the qualification. It's not only one-sided. So like you're saying, you're seeing it from a different perspective.
Yes.
You're seeing it from the people-centered perspective as well, not
Yeah.
just, the numbers or how you thought it
Yes.
would be. Similar to Lubaba, I mean, he mentioned that he's an engineer and he's got an engineering background, but he also then decided to tap into this qualification to actually understand and get the broader picture. So it's quite interesting to see how it all intersects. So
Yeah.
public
And I think
administration is key. Yeah.
as well, like it's the qualifications not just aims for people in the public sector, like people in the private sector can absolutely use it as well.
Exactly. Felicity, please walk us through why you chose this qualification.
Yeah, I was shopping around I really wanted to do my postgrad in public administration because where I'm working is giving me a broader perspective of different like HR, it's a supply chain, support service, all that. So public administration is a very broad program. So I shopped around and looked through. I think I took like 2-3 weeks before I made a decision. And finally, I got to Milpark. And I said to myself, okay, the reviews are very good. There is one or two, but you will get it. And as Dorothy in Labobo says, it was cost effective. It's affordable. I could dive actually into it. And what amazed me when Tia said, "Oh, Felicity, I must first interview you." And I said, "Oh, okay. That is something new I didn't experience." But Milpark, give me a broader, my mind is overflowing with different ideas with this postgrad. And the program could give me actually balance out where my work is concerned, my studies. I could manage. I could manage. And I had to put a program up for myself to say, this is the time I'm going to sit with my studies. This is my work time. This is my family time. So I could manage all that, which I really loved. I could manage really. And the sacrifices comes with it, but it was worthwhile. Thank you, Tia.
Thank you so much. I think from all your responses, I mean, I've gathered like a theme that the qualification is cost effective. There's an element of flexibility. I think it's also quite great that it's an online qualification. So you're actually able to balance or create a balance for yourself in terms of family, work, and school. So there's no pressure to say, come into the classroom. Otherwise, you're going to miss this lecture. We really try our level best to communicate everything on time so that you can also plan your schedules accordingly. So thank you so much, everyone, for the positive feedback that you are relaying to also our prospective students. So the next question I actually want to touch on is, fine, we understand the journey and why you chose this qualification, but let's talk skills. Skills are very important in our day-to-day. So our aim is not just to regurgitate information to you. I mean, I'm sitting here as your lecturer providing as much knowledge as I can, but what are you doing with what you have learned in your space, in your workspace, or your day-to-day? Doesn't necessarily have to equate to your work, but what do you see? What have you learned from this qualification, and how are you applying it? And the mic is open to anyone. Dorothy, would you like to lead us in this conversation? Oh, sorry.
What stands out for me was that the public finance accountability, the monitoring and evaluation, and the policies, public policies, that stands out. I could take all that information, grab it, and implement it professionally into my workspace. And it gives me a more understanding where my policies fit in with my work. So public administration is a very, very nice program, which I will recommend anyone to do, especially at Milpark. Thank you, Tia.
Thank you, Felicity. Dorothy.
I think that at a supervisory level or management level in government, you touch a bit on everything. The qualification touched you. You have a bit of HR. You do monitoring and evaluation. You have to deal with the financial aspect of it because you have budgets that you need to manage. You have programs that are being implemented, and then you have well, the policy part as well. So you touch a bit on everything that the qualification touches in the actual workspace. So the qualification, especially if you've been working in government for a long time and you've had exposure to all of those areas, it just puts things into perspective for you. The qualification, and it helps you to understand where it starts, what your role is, and where it actually goes beyond you. So I think this qualification, it's really it really helps one understand. For me, the monitoring and evaluation part was really very critical because in government we do a lot of monitoring, but the evaluation part is sometimes lacking. So we don't monitor, we don't assess the impact, we don't. So we know the project, the program must happen, implementation happens, but what actually happened? What difference did that project actually make? It's a question that we don't often ask in government. And I think that for me was a very critical part. Although in the program that I'm working, the Expanded Public Works program, there is a lot of evaluation that is going on because our program is time-based. So over every 5 years, you come back and you have to look at what worked, what did not work, and what needs to be improved going forward. But when you're looking at it generally, you have government departments or municipalities that are implementing projects. So the project is done and dusted. We have to build the school, it's done, we're gone.
Yeah.
Whether the impact, we don't measure the actual impact that that school had made there, and what needs to happen following on that when we're looking at building another school. So the lessons learned from that, I think sometimes is lacking. So I just think that overall this program, the modules that are touched on in this program, it's very relevant to what we do in government on a daily basis. So it really helps to expand your understanding and your knowledge on how things should actually be done. So yes, you may be doing things, but are you doing it correctly? And the purpose, the intended purpose, are you achieving that? And then for me, the public policy is also was also quite interesting because public policy in government is at a high level where the development actually happens, and then you're involved in bits and pieces of the processes here and there, but you're not involved in the full value chain of the public policy development. So I think that for me is also very critical in that now one understands exactly what happens, the whole process, and then the development of the policy. And although we're still learning, it is the last module that we're doing, but I can already see that the impact, and also for me, the level of understanding of this process has really it's improved a whole lot. And it also helps when you're moving higher up in government to understand exactly how this process actually unfolds, because when you're reaching some director, chief director levels, it is at that level where you really have to understand how policy is actually developed and the impact and who the drivers of the policy actually are, and what the impact, the influence that the general population actually have in terms of the policy itself. And then we touched on leadership. I think Baba there, and we were working on the group presentation, and we had some issues amongst ourselves, and this was for leadership. And I think you also remember when I spoke to you and I said to you, this is really difficult, considering this is leadership. It should be there are principles that we should just be applying just as a norm, and yeah, yeah, I'm struggling with this with this classmate, and those really touched on issues of leadership and the challenges that comes with leadership. And I think and it was actually very strange because with the other groups I didn't have any issues, and here comes Lubaba, and here we're having this issue. And really for me, that was a real learning curve also. So things are not always smooth sailing in leadership. And for me, that was a very personal uh, a module where it touched on one's integrity and how it actually aligns with the organization and government as a whole. And it forces you to actually self-introspect. And I think with lots of the modules that we started out, you had to do some introspection. And I think those are parts of the qualification that made it very personal for me. And you really have to go back and ask yourself, as a public servant, are you really doing what is required of you? And do you fit the profile of a public servant? And when you are looking at that perspective and you compare to the public service code of conduct, how do you actually relate to that? So the module, the qualification for me it really hit home, and it really hit home hard. On a very personal level, especially if you take your work seriously and you pride yourself in the work that you do. It really questions where you are at and if this is really the right place for you as a government official. And I think for me personally, I think each and every government official has to attend some kind of training within public sector management. Doesn't matter which level you are at, because so you have your undergraduate, which is linked to the actual work that you are doing every day. And that is a good thing, but it does not help you understand the environment. So if you do not understand the environment, the context of the environment, it becomes very difficult to actually operate in. So I think it is a very valuable qualification to have. And if I had my way, every single government official, and yes, we are moving in that direction as government, where we are saying that you need to have this qualification. And also when you're looking at advertisements, there's always slash public management slash public administration slash public public something, So it tells you the importance of actually understanding the public sector environment. Thanks, Thea.
Thanks, Dorothy. You've actually, as he's talking, I'm listening, and you've actually summarized the practicality of the modules that we offer for this qualification, because you touched on leadership. So we've got public sector leadership. You've actually touched on the HR aspect of it, the finance part of it, policy. We are governed by policy. So you literally brought the practical aspect, and here we are looking at the theoretical aspect. So thank you for painting that entire picture for us. Tolofelo, anything on your side in terms of skills and what you've taken from this qualification and how you're implementing?
For me, I will say the president once said we need to build a capable state. So this qualification, is going there, is pushing a lot of us into building a capable state. And for me, one of the modules that went very smooth was talent management. Oh, that one made me become a fire in HR. I will always criticize their policies. I will always tell them we need to benchmark. What's wrong with your policy? What you need to change with your policy? They didn't like me because of that. But now, for me now is that I'm dealing with a lot of international accreditation organizations. So knowing how to deal with policies, as in South Africa, there are so many policies there which are in the public space, like the POPIA and some other policies. So all in all, when it comes into your space, you need to interpret those policies and know how to implement them. Because without knowing how to interpret and implement them in the public sector, it becomes a challenge. That's where you find issues where there's corruptions, where tenders go south, where suppliers are not coming to the party, is because of we cannot interpret policy and implement, as well as monitor the progress of the implemented programs. For me, it was an exciting program. If they say I will do it again, I can do it again. Unfortunately, we can't.
Come back and do it again. Come back and do it again.
We'll
No.
do. And the nice part about it is that I remember my cohort, we were a mix of students. There was a CFO, if I remember quite well. There was
Yes,
an engineer. There was a
Yes.
sports administrator. So we are all in one space, and we all have different experiences, but we just need to make it work. We just need to make it work. It doesn't matter where we are, but at the end of the day, we end up being capable public administrators.
Exactly. See, again, I'll reiterate the diversity of the qualification. Like Tsolofelo said, in his cohort, there was a mix of from your CEOs to your engineers to a sports management person. So it's actually quite good. And just to know that also our curriculum is quite diverse. I mean, it's got a South African flavor, yet it's also globally relevant. So with the content that you find, you can take it elsewhere and actually make do with what it is. I mean, Lubaba, for instance, who's in a different country, is applying what we are teaching where he is. So yeah, Lubaba, anything from your end in terms of what are you doing with this qualification from a practical point of view?
Okay. With my line of work, we pretty much dealing with a number of projects. And then in all these projects, we need to have good monitoring and evaluation, because when the company invests in or put money in those projects, they are expecting result. So the monitoring and evaluation was very useful to me, and also the people management. With this project, we deal with people from different backgrounds, and it might be, challenging. Like Dorothy say, we did have a small issue, but it's a part of everyday problems, are part of everyday work and so on. So those two modules were really helpful, and even now they are pretty much assisting in my everyday work.
Oh, thank you so much. It's actually quite great to hear. I mean, for me, because I sit back and I teach the module, so it's fantastic to hear that the work that we are putting in is actually coming out. And as Dorothy said, you want to be a responsible citizen, so just do good, because you learn about integrity, about being ethical, so thank you so much. Felicity, what are your practical aspects that you've taken from this module? So in your job, how do you implement what you've learned?
Tia, what I've learned, as I said earlier, I put every bit of subject in this program at my workplace. And as acting manager, I've done a lot. Even sometimes there's interns coming and I implement it. And it's good because I implement it immediately from the start. I don't like baby them. I put it out there. I put it out there so that I can cross and know what I'm talking about, because they are also, we also receive sometimes graduates, like also public governance, or they study the public administration or public management. So they know what I'm talking about actually. And then I just put it out there for them. And as I said, I don't baby them. I implement it because as Dorothy said, you need to be a good citizen, and especially these young ones, you need to teach them the right thing. You need to teach them the right thing. And if you're going to baby them, when they get a permanent job, they're still going to be babied. So they know if you put out there the right thing from the start, they will know, okay, I've been taught from a higher level, a postgrad person, where I know where I can draw the line or put this in or put that out. So, yeah.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. So actually what you're talking about is now I'm thinking about the level of adaptability, because I always say this new generation of the young adults, it's very different. They are more, let's work smarter, let's not work harder. So it's also always, you have to make sure you are equipped with how to handle them. You also have to be knowledgeable. I mean, also we've got AI coming into play. So I know this is a very random question, but how do you guys handle that in terms of your space, your job? How do you manage the young ones? How do you teach them to do the right thing? What does it mean to teach them to do the right thing? Because I know growing up, we were always told, do this, do that, and you follow. Now everyone questions a lot of things. No, but I don't want to do it. Then you go, but you must, so that we can all achieve, one big outcome. So how do you guys manage the younger generation?
Oh, I will go first.
Sure thing.
I'm part of that younger generation. We are rebellious, I know. We never follow the status quo. We disrupt the status quo. I know, I have experience. I'm one of them. I'm the best disruptor ever, even now at my workplace. But for me, even at the workplace, is that we have interns. But I always tell them that you can be a disruptor of the status quo, but there are still norms and standards, rules and regulations that we need to follow. Whether we like them or we don't like them, we really need to follow. And the first one is that ethics. Ethics is the most important one. We need ethical employees nowadays. So if you lack ethics, it's where corruption come and take place. So ethics is the number one issue that is currently facing the young ones now, because they'll say, no, it's just a cold drink, we can do it. That cold drink can really, really put the organization into trouble or into danger. And I always tell them, read the fine print. Because you can sign, but it means something else. You just read the title, but the fine print is where the matter of the subject is. So the young ones is difficult, but we always encourage them that you better read. If they don't read, you just give them extra work. They will read eventually.
All right. Now getting into career advice. People always ask, but what do you do with this qualification? Where am I gonna go once I've studied this qualification? Do you guys have any words for where you can go, what you can actually do with this qualification?
I can go. Okay.
Sure.
So for me, for my thoughts now being coming into this qualification, not being in the public sector, not kind of knowing what I was going to face and do with this qualification. So when I first started, I was like, okay, how am I going to implement this into like my journey to become a chartered accountant? Where now there's so many valuable lessons and valuable concepts that I've understood. So like giving me the frameworks to understand how the government operates. Example, like even though I'm not in the public sector, like me seeing how service delivery is not delivered like on a normal everyday basis helps me understand and be like, okay, but that is actually a a difficult thing for them to implement, you know, like it gives me a different perspective, and then I'm like, okay, you know, like they can do better, but it's not as easy as we think it is. Then another one would be to understand how the system operates and how we know now from doing this qualification how we can better it through the policy implementation, through leadership, through public sector financial accountability. So my advice for students, well, prospective students, would be to be ready to engage critically and think critically in this qualification and relate it to real world examples. And like even now, me being an academic trainee and being in the lecturing space, like it's helped me portray so many concepts to people in management accounting and using real world examples to express how the resource allocation works and how ethics can go badly in, like as an example, in the government. So then like each module we do is an opportunity for you to strengthen your leadership skills and to problem solve. Like problem solving was such a big concept for me in this qualification, because like there were so many concepts that I had never heard of before doing this. So I found it really valuable, and that my ethical leadership, governance, and public sector innovation side has really grown.
Thanks, Hannah. You actually touched on what I was actually going to talk about, the element of thinking critically and problem solving. Because, you know, a lot of, you know, we can give you the textbook, we can give you the material, you can regurgitate the information, but how are you thinking broader about it? I think also that's why we've got the group presentations. I think I'm always wowed by the group presentations, because I'm like, oh, this is the angle that everyone's taken. Oh, this is the topic you've chosen. You know what I mean? So we could literally give you the same topic, but different results will come out. And it's always so amazing to see how, you know, the effort you put in, and you can tell the person's personal experiences coming through from the group presentation. So thank you. Yeah, it actually makes sense. And problem solving, number one, that's what we need to be doing, solving problems and hopefully getting adequate solutions. And going back to what Dorothy said about, you know, implementation, one of the key things is it's always easy to start off with the elements of the project in itself, but what happens at the end? Who's monitoring it? Who's evaluating it? What are we getting? What feedback are we getting from what has been implemented? Instead of just saying, go to a school, here's a feeding scheme, and then leaving it alone. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. Anyone else? Lubaba, do you want to add in terms of, you know, career advice for prospective students, what they can do with this qualification?
Okay. For me, I would say that they need to approach this program with an open and curious mindset. You know, when you want to learn, you need to open your mind. There's no stupid question, like, you know, most of, yeah. And, you know, you also need to kind of engage, you know, when you engage in discussions and also case studies, you're going to learn a lot from people, because you're going to meet people from, you know, different sectors, environment, or even countries. So by engaging with them, you're going to, let's say, learn a lot. And also you need to relate some of the concepts that are being taught to your work environment. And you know, by doing that, I think you're going to enjoy the journey.
Thanks, Lubaba. Felicity, on your end, what career advice would you offer to, you know, prospective students regarding this qualification?
Tia, sometimes students make like, I won't say stupid decisions, where they want to go study and then they study the wrong thing. At the end of the day, there's no work in that field, and then they're stuck with this qualification. So my advice is sit and do your research properly. Your research needs to give you a broader, if you do whatever program or you're interested, see that that program or qualification will take you above. So don't just do anything. So public administration is a very broad um, program where I will give advice on. Any student can take that on if you put your mind to it and you are really, how can I say, do your research properly and see where you see yourself in 5 years' time.
Mm, mm. Thank you. Thank you, Felicity, for that.
Thank you,
You said
Tia.
something quite powerful. Do your research, because at the end of the day, you don't want to do a qualification for the sake of doing it. It has to have meaning. There must be some form of impact for you, because you find a lot of people just do it for a tick box, as a tick box exercise, maybe to get a promotion at work, or just to say I've got a degree, or you think it's an easy qualification. You know what I mean? Let it have impact. Make the most of it. Have a takeaway from it. I think that's also quite important. Dorothy, is there anything from your side in terms of, career advice for prospective students?
I think especially if you are in government, from a government perspective, generally most qualifications or most positions require you to have an entry qualification at NQF level 6, NQF level 7. But when you're looking at the higher echelon of government, I think it's important to have a higher level qualification, because it helps elevate your thinking. It helps elevate the reasoning. So I think from a career perspective, especially within government, and also when you're looking at your non-profit organizations or your non-governmental organizations, and this qualification also becomes quite valuable to them, because they do quite a bit of work for government through their own programs. So it is important to understand and then to be able to bridge the gap between private sector and government. And this qualification beautifully assists in bridging that gap. So I think there is quite a bit of value in having the qualification, and then also for progression. So as much as you say that, don't just do it for promotion, but it is a qualification that could assist in promotions. And you work, and in government, it is based, your qualification, as you go higher, you need to advance that qualification that speaks to the level within government itself. But also, like Minnie had said, also there are quite a few concepts in the program that are relevant to private sector. So you'll also find that private sector does quite a bit of work with government. So if we understand the role of government in the country, in any country, you will understand that government plays a pivotal role in terms of private sector development, private sector growth. So if you do not understand that, it becomes very difficult to operate in the private sector space alone, without understanding how government actually works. So it is important. So the qualification could bridge that gap between private sector and public sector as well. So I really do think that there is quite a bit of value in this qualification, and then even Thea, for you to offer at a at a master's level would even be better.
Yes.
Because then this just becomes a stepping stone towards the master's within the Milpark context. But otherwise, I really think that this qualification, and you really need to make time. It is not easy, especially if you're having family, you're having kids, you're having a job, a demanding job where you have to travel quite often. I can tell you from personal experience, it is challenging to fit this in, and with the family commitment and with your work and travel commitments, it is doable. So it is about really applying discipline for you to get decent results in the qualification. I don't think it's that easy. I don't think it's a walk in the park. But I think it's really something that can be done. So if you really just put time aside, work on a schedule, as Felicity has said earlier, work on your schedule and stick to the schedule, and also do your things timeously. And I'm one of
Absolutely.
those. I'm one of the. I'm one of those that on a Sunday I'm not speaking to anyone. My phone is off, and you're under pressure. And but that's just reality of life. Things happen. So even though you set yourself, especially when you're traveling, and especially when you travel for both work and private, it's a very demanding. It can become demanding if you
Yeah.
don't set the time apart to actually focus on the studying. So it's really integrating that within your lifestyle. Because my brother and I were chatting the other day, and he said to me, uh, believe me, you're going to have empty nest syndrome. And I can tell you, because the first term we had 2 subjects. The second term it was 2 modules as well, and the third term I only did 1 module. And I can promise you, there was like, so what am I going to do now? So, so there's suddenly you have enough time. You're not sure what to do with your time. So already I've been experiencing empty nest syndrome, because even this one now, because now we're almost like on a break. But this is time actually to apply your mind and read. Reading is very important, and just consistently reading to understand exactly what's happening in the government space, and to broaden your knowledge. And also when we have to apply those examples, the asked you, can I use the example I used then? And he was like, can you please just use a new example, because
Yes.
it'll demonstrate your understanding and your knowledge of the qualification. So those are the things that you will be going through. But
Absolutely.
ultimately, it is absolutely rewarding. And Thea, I think, yeah, I think from my personal experience, I think there was one subject that I was like the research module, and I was like, I'm giving up. Thea, can we?
Yes,
Can
I
I
remember
defer this?
Dorothy, can I defer this module? Can I defer? And I'm like, no, no, no. Let's try harder. Let's push. What do you
Yes.
need? How can we help? Yeah.
So that is the kind of support that is available to prospective students. And really, my sister was saying to me, "You're one of those lastige students," and I was okay. And you always asking lots of questions, and uh, so I think that asking those questions helps one understand, and it also helps put things into perspective, and it helps with the outcome, the ultimate outcome of the qualification itself. But I must say that on a personal level, I've really experienced Milpark in a very positive way. The support that is available, the administrative support, I can write an email and I was like, oh, don't these people sleep? I mean, they must respond tomorrow. And that's the kind of support that you get. And for me, I would, if you offered the NPA, I definitely would have considered doing it through Milpark because of the level of support. And I think there was with one module, it's like, no, no, my results. And then, and you were quick to respond and provide the clarity and provide the support. And that is what one needs when you are studying, that you don't have to worry and wait for weeks and days to pass for you to actually get some kind of response and some kind of support, because you know what you're doing online, you need the support now, you want to answer the question now. And that is almost what you get from Milpark. It's only that unfortunately, when I want the question is on a Saturday, I want the question answered, and that is unrealistic. But come Monday, I promise you, that question first thing is going to be responded to. So yeah, I just, from a personal perspective, really, Milpark has been wonderful in terms of their administrative support and also the academic support. It has been really very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy. Yeah, just to highlight, like I always say, don't feel alone. Ask as many questions as you can. Even if you ask the same thing, I will be patient. I think one thing I've learned through my students is patience. Ask and ask and ask and trust we are there. If I'm not sure, I'll definitely guide you to, the relevant person. So we really do try our best to hold each other's hands, hold each other accountable as well, just to also give our students the best service. And I always like to say my students are like my children. It's nice because I know a little bit about everybody, more than just as a lecturer, but also just the human touch, because I think at Milpark we pride ourselves with the human touch. So if somebody comes with an issue, there'll always be a plan that can be made. Obviously you have to communicate on time so that we can make the plans, but it's always nice to know that, oh, I know that this person is here in their life, or they're struggling with this. So we truly, truly, truly pride ourselves in that. And I mean, generally, thank you all for being such wonderful people as well. In as much as it's not easy, sometimes, you guys will complain about stuff, but it's normal. It's part of the academic journey. We were all once students, so we completely understand. So yeah, in closing, I just want to talk a little bit about personal reflections. What are your last takeaways, or what did you really value throughout this journey? What made it memorable for you? Is there anything that sticks out, or any other things that stick out before we close off? Who would like to go first?
For me,
Yeah.
it was doing group like presentations. Like if I have to think of something that really impacted me, was really the group presentations. Like practicing with your group before the presentation, getting to know, like even now, like Dorothy, I know from, because she was in I'm the first ever group I was in, she was in it. So like, and Lababa, I've been in a group with him too. So like, getting to know the people and like chatting to people, even like when you're supposed to be practicing, just getting to know everyone. And because I'm in the accounting space, we don't really do group work. Like we don't have group work actually at all in our qualifications. So doing it through this way, even though it's online, it still felt like a connection, and it was still like that person was there. Then another one for me was the valuable takeaway was like just the like understanding the ultimate power of ethical leadership. How having unethical leadership can really like destroy a government and destroy a policy implementation. And I feel like doing this through this qualification through Milpark really showed me like the encouraging aspects of reflection and discussion. Like having the discussion questions where it's like applied to a real life example really helped me see it in a different way instead of just reading it in the textbook and seeing it in the theory. Like the practical side really helped me to broaden my perspective and see how it's been done in real life, and also how sustainable performance in a company and in the government, in the public sector or the private sector, how ultimately it's all building on a integrity, accountability, and the genuine commitment of having service delivery and social well-being. So those like aspects really stood out to me, especially in like the public sector leadership and like people management. Really spoke to me, and that is about the people, and everything of the government's supposed to do is meant to be service delivery and well-being driven. Yeah.
Thanks, Hannah. Any takeaways from you, Mr. Nkwana?
Thank you. Most of the takeaway from me is that the group work. I remember quite well, the group work or presentation started with my cohort, and it was so funny hearing an engineer trying to explain something regarding HR, and I was like, oh my goodness, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But it was exciting for me. It was exciting because I could interact with him. I could WhatsApp him. No, pause it. I will take over from here. Don't stress. You can even hear from the voice that no, this guy is really panicking or stressed regarding this content matter. But it shows that teamwork. If you can work as a team in the classroom, it's easy for you to work as a team in the workplace or during projects. And most of all, it did show me that in having a public sector qualification doesn't strictly mean you are confined to a desk job as a bureaucrat in the public sector. but it has a variety of careers, which I've also experienced as a community engagement officer, did multiple community engagements in deep rural KZN. Suddenly, you are attending something regarding Khoisan matters. So it does show that public sector qualification, it can take you from the office in Pretoria to rural KZN to somewhere in Northern Cape or Mafikeng, just to experience how citizens live across the country and how that policy can implement eventually at the end of the day. It's still exciting and it's still beneficial for me.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Felicity, what is your last takeaway?
Yeah, the last takeaway for me was the presentation was a lot of fun, knowing my other colleagues, where they're coming from and where I'm coming from. The Department of Health and Wellness, and what also stand out to me was the discussions. The discussions was awesome, really. I was like literally 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock the night, I was reading through the discussions and I could have a broader understanding and my mind was so open and I could give my feedback or my input on that, or whoever is giving the discussion, I can relate to it. So it was really fun for me. And what is the ultimate outstanding was when I was doing my summative. So my summative, I couldn't even wait to do my summative because it was given you like 7 days so I can prioritize my whole schedule around it, work, house, and and I could do every night a little. So when it comes to submission time, I wouldn't have stressed. So that was the ultimate outstanding of Milpark, where I fell in love with it.
Thank you, Felicity. Thank you so much. Dorothy, your final words of reflection.
Well, like I said, it's a prioritizing of the work, and the qualification, fitting it into your everyday life. And it's basically just becomes part of the schedule. The kids go to bed at 8, your work starts at 8:30. And because during the day, if you committed to your work, having to do a qualification during the day just does not seem right, does not feel right. It's almost like you're stealing time from work to do your personal matters, although it's not personal because it impacts on the work itself. So yeah, for me, what really stood out for me was the research module. It was a headache, but but the findings from that research really helped to enter into deep discussion at work about things, where we could actually improve on things. And I think that that helps one to just to do a quick analysis of things, and to understand where you're at, and if you're really still on the right track. I think that that for me really, it was really very helpful for me. And then like I indicated, the other components of the qualification itself. But what also stood out for me was the group presentations, where you would get a lot of information, and I learned quite a bit from those various presentations itself. Although the group presentation, putting it together was not, I didn't enjoy tea time there, but the actual feedback from those presentations. And also it helped one quickly, because I'm an attention to detail kind of person. So having to do this presentation in a quick, have it concise, to the point, and that is a skill that I've managed to master, and it also helped me to broaden my ability to do presentations. It's something that I enjoy at work. I enjoy doing the research part at work. So to actually use a different method of doing things, and also the emphasis on the AI, almost made me scared. I almost, at some point I felt like flustered. It's like, okay, maybe I should do this AI course now, and the impact thereof and how it can make one's life so much easier. It is something that has also stood out for me, although it wasn't part of the curriculum itself, but it is something that you use, and being made aware of the impact of AI and how one could actually use it responsibly. It's something that one had gone and investigated a bit more, and how technology actually impacts on our daily work, and how one could actually work around it, and how one could integrate it into the workspace. That for me was also very valuable in this qualification. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dorothy, for your insights. Lubaba, your final words before we close off.
Okay. For me is that even though the program is fully online, I wasn't alone in that journey. I had the opportunity to really meet wonderful people, and I did learn a lot from all of you and also other colleagues, and also especially those weekly discussions and so on. They were really useful. Sometimes you don't even know what you don't know, and by reading what other people are posting and so on, it was really helpful and important. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, we really do pride ourselves in fostering collaboration. I think it's a very big thing. You're not alone. Togetherness is important. Hence why we have the group presentations, the discussion forums. I mean, the WhatsApp groups, if some of you are in the WhatsApp groups, just to fill each other in on what's going on. But yeah, overall, it's been great. I would really like to thank each and every one of you panel members for being part of tonight's info session, providing us with your insights. I feel the session was really a warm, wholesome session because you could see it came from the heart. So thank you so much for that. And thank you to everyone who was online. Sydney, Vuyo, Muriel, thank you so much for attending. We do look forward to our new students, and thank you all, and have a lovely, lovely weekend. I mean, evening. I'm already thinking Friday. Have a lovely weekend, evening. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Tia. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a
Bye.
lovely evening.
Bye.